Welcome to the Leadership Sparq podcast, where we equip you to be the great leader your people deserve. This is Corey. I'm here with Hampton. And Hampton, I want to start today with a quote from Gandhi that ties right into the topic that we're going to unpack. He says this. He says, "Live as if you'll die tomorrow. Learn as if you'll live forever." And that whole idea of we should be continuously learning, which really dovetails well into an idea that's out there. It's actually been out there a while around growth mindset. And I bet a lot of our listeners have heard of growth mindset before, but why don't you unpack for us growth mindset through your own personal experience and help leaders out there understand why this is so important for them as a leader?
It's interesting because I spent a lot of my life with a fixed mindset. And what's funny is after I read the book Mindset by Carol Dweck and learned what it meant to have a growth mindset and put some things into practice to really embody someone with a growth mindset, all of a sudden I noticed that I felt like I've arrived. I'm like, oh, now I have a growth mindset, which in itself might even be a fixed mindset, which I think is funny. We always need to be learning and growing. And if I look back at my life, I was obsessed with the comfort zone. And when you're in the comfort zone, you're probably not growing very much. And so people with a fixed mindset are often obsessed with natural talent. They want to stay in the lane of things that they're really good at. A personal example from my life is that I was not always the smartest in the classroom. So if I didn't study and my friend didn't study, they might do better than me. And so because of that, I didn't necessarily put in a lot of work. And with my buddies, I would make the excuse around, school, I know it's important, but I'm just kind of getting by and I'm sure I'll figure out a way to be in sales one day. I just want to talk with people. And I made the excuse that school didn't really matter, but it was because of insecurity deep down. I knew that even if I gave it my all, I might not be the smartest in the classroom. Therefore, there was no room to make an excuse. And that was due to insecurity. I didn't want to get uncomfortable. I didn't want to risk failure. And that is the absolute opposite of a growth mindset. I was very fixed in my abilities, if you will. And so now after reading the book by Carol Dweck, personally, I've learned what it looks like to have a growth mindset. I'm willing to step out of the comfort zone. I'm willing to learn new things, and I'm willing to fail at the end of the day. I think I've had to learn a lot of humility to be able to be open to those things, but it always works out in the end. Now, that's just me personally. I know it's super important when you're leading a team to have that as well. So, Corey, do you want to touch on that?
Absolutely. And I think about failure when it comes to growth mindset. And one of the things that I heard several years ago was when we fail, we have a choice. And one of the choices is a fixed mindset, one's a growth, but failure can either define us or develop us. Defining us would be more of a fixed mindset is, well, this is just who I am. This is the way it will always be. Develop us will be, I'm going to learn from this because I believe that I can grow and I can get better in whatever aspect of my life that I'm thinking about and talking about. So, but the tendency is to think about growth mindset as far as what's in it for me as the leader, which as you, Hampton, unpack, there's a ton in it for me as a leader when it comes to choosing to have a growth mindset, because if I am not learning, if I'm not growing, I will be left behind. And I don't want that to happen to me as a leader. But I want to stretch the way you think about this to your team. What if your team, and you're building a culture where your team is also not in a fixed mindset, they have a growth mindset. And so a fixed mindset for a team would say things like, this is just the way it's always been. Or a fixed mindset for a team would be, we're comfortable with the way we do it now. It works. Instead of pushing into, are there better ways to do what we do? Can we go further, faster? Can we be more efficient, more effective? Can we learn new ways to do things? Can we stretch each other into new areas personally? And then corporately together, we'll be better and we'll grow. And so as you think about this as a leader, your go and do, as you think about it, is to, number one, check yourself. Check yourself to make sure that you aren't either unintentionally or intentionally moving towards a fixed mindset, but you're choosing to have a growth mindset. And then how do you apply that to your team? Does your team embody the aspects of a growth mindset? And a great book to read is which one, Hampton? You mentioned it earlier.
Mindset by Carol Dweck.
So your go and do could be go watch a TED Talk by her or go read her book and learn more about growth mindset. But it's something that you'll look back on your life and you won't regret embracing. Go and do.